All right, all right.
Oh my God. Uh, Hi everybody for being here. I owe everybody such a great apology. It's funny how life has a way of slapping you in the face because just yesterday I was running my big mouth and saying that being late was one of my pet peeves, and here, what do you know? Yeah, no, you know what? Wow, it is what it is. There's really no excuses. I should have set a better alarm, I guess. Um, but anyways, Hank, thank you so much for being here today, man.
No problem, no problem.
I know you've been
What's
extremely
good,
busy,
everybody?
so I know you've been so busy that, we haven't seen much of you.
Yeah, when I say life has been a roller coaster, and I'm not gonna say in a bad way. I miss being on this camera, but it wasn't bad at all. It's just how you start off rocky, and then you got to bring the plane in. So I'm
Yeah.
at the point of landing the plane. So I hope to be back on here pretty soon.
Well, if that's the case, I guess the wheels are down because I'm starting to see, Aquarians right behind you.
Yeah. I got two. I got two tanks running right now. I got two running.
So I take it you're not in the closet anymore, are you? Nice.
No, I'm in my living room.
Oh, okay. So are
Oh
you
my
gonna be
goodness.
able to have a designated area to keep the tanks now, or are you just sticking to the living room?
No, I'm just sticking to the living room right now because this is a small space my daughter and myself are living in. So the living room is my room. So it's bigger than the closet though.
Nice. Are we having a delay? Because I noticed that it takes you a little while to respond.
Yeah, it's starting back to glitching.
Oh, I don't know what's going on. I don't Okay, let me turn that off. I've got a couple of devices that are on the Wi-Fi. Hopefully, by me turning those off, it'll improve it.
Okay, let me turn on my so I can see what the chat is talking about. Maybe they can give us some insight.
Yeah.
Let me see. Move your head. Yeah, it's frozen on your end.
Oh, really?
Chad, is he just frozen on me, or is he frozen on y'all too?
Yeah. They're not.
Frozen.
We
Let me
should
turn
be
that down.
good. Am I really? Is my audio and video? Is it any good, or is it being glitched? It's between the you two. Oh, it's between us.
It's
You
sounding
see,
you're sounding like a robot.
yeah, because right now, I can see the image where we're at, and I see you well. You're not glitching or anything like that, but I don't see myself glitching, so I don't know. You're both moving here. That's it. Yeah, on my end,
Okay,
it
let me
looks
see
good.
now. The the tablet that I'm looking at the stream on, you're not glitching on it. But
Yeah, that's what.
on my camera on the phone,
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're saying that we're good. Oh,
okay.
that's interesting. Yeah, because usually I can see it either on my end or your end, but both of them look good right now. You see, if I would have shown up early, we would have figured all this out. Yeah, I'm not gonna live that one down. What I rightly shouldn't. I shouldn't live that one down.
Hey, I ain't gonna tell Steve.
Yeah, I know, huh? He's the one that really needs to find out about this. Yeah, we were on Eddie's live
Oh,
stream, and I had to pull away. I don't know what time these guys went to bed, but it was 3 o'clock in the morning when I finally told them, "Hey, I gotta go because I gotta get up early in the morning." So we were just
yeah, that's what
chatting
Jeff
it up.
said you were.
Yeah, we were just chatting. Well, that's even more embarrassing because I know Jeff went to sleep a lot later than I did, and he's already up.
yeah, I was concerned there, for a minute. I'm like,
I
oh man,
know.
is he
Man, it's wow. You know,
hey, it is what it is, man. It is what it
yeah,
is.
live and learn, I guess. But I baked. Well, there's anything else I say is really an excuse because I should have taken precautions to prevent this, and I didn't. So it's all really at the end of the day, it's all really on me. But yeah, no. Well, Hank, I am so glad that that you accepted my invitation to be on here today. I'm so ashamed that I was late for that invitation that I made out to you, but nonetheless, I wanted to sincerely apologize for not being here in time and having you worry and figure out what the hell is happening. But well, thanks though. Thanks a lot for you accepting the invitation. That really does mean a lot to me. And one of the things that I'm really grateful about is because you're like one of the very first persons that allowed me to have an opportunity to be in front of a camera. You were like the third person that invited me to be able to participate in a live stream, you know, just because you were interested or curious and finding out a little bit more about me. So for that, I'm always grateful for
Yeah,
that.
most definitely.
And I just wanted to
Most
personally
definitely.
say thank you.
Most definitely, man. I miss it, man. I miss it. I miss it. I miss it. My the biggest deal for me was I always would put people in my shoes, like, where I was at the beginning, And if you came up on my timeline, just so I say, hey, let me see, boop, and I'm gonna watch the video. If it comes up, hey, I don't know who that is, boop, I'm gonna watch the video. And shit, if it's decent to me, let me let everybody else know that this person is out here. We can all
Yeah.
swim in these YouTube water.
And that's and I've really, I mean, I don't know if people really understand how significant it is, especially when you're trying to cut your teeth into doing content and trying to get an audience on YouTube. But it really, I remember, I personally thought it was a big deal because it's somebody who obviously has a lot more subscribers than what you have at the beginning, and they're giving you that opportunity to be able to be spotlighted because that's really what that did for me is when people like you and Rico and Jess from the morning show were granting me those spots in the mornings when I had maybe less than 300 subscribers. For me, that was an opportunity to be spotlighted with an audience that didn't even know that I was around. And it doesn't guarantee you that you're going to get subscribers, but it does give you a little bit of exposure for people that might not know that you were out there to be able to go check out your channel. Now, if what you're doing is something that they like, then they'll subscribe. It doesn't keep you exempt. Sorry, were you saying something?
Oh, no, I'm cat.
Oh, there he goes. Hopefully he'll be back pretty soon. Well, for those of you guys that are just showing up, I want to say thank you so much for being here. now, now I feel like a big hypocrite because no later than yesterday on I think on Eddie's live stream, I was being a smartass and was saying that one of my pet peeves was people that would show up late to streams. And what do you know? Guess who was late this morning? Um, but that's why it's not ever good. Karma is a real thing. I truly believe in karma because I've seen it happen over and over again. And apparently I didn't I have not learned my lessons from karma because no later than me saying that yesterday, here I am today, uh, eating my own words. You good, Hike?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. It just boop. I don't.
Yeah.
I have no explanation for it. It just went.
Hank was like, I had enough of this. Bye.
It just. Oh, but no, I understand exactly how important it can be, and without making it any type of soapbox rants or anything like that. Uh, Dealing with certain types of adversities early on. Anyway, I can't say this the same now, but there was, it was always a uphill climb or a upstream swim, you might say. Um, any chance I had to help someone who might face the same adversities, that's definitely what I was going to do. And the hobby is it was so important to me and still is, and that's why I've done everything I could do to have some of these critters around me in the midst of all the things that I was going through in the last year and a half, 2 years. That anybody that has found a space in their heart for these little critters in these glass boxes um is like family to me, and I want to know what it is, why you're doing it, what you're doing, where you're doing it, and I'm pretty sure there was, a lot of people out there who felt the same way. Because I mean, my first videos were just, hey, look what I have. I may not have said a word. The video may have been 10 seconds. I was just excited to show, boop, just shoot it out there. Look, y'all, they like, what is that? It's straight. But that's all my fault. Y'all might need a little more insight on that or a better picture. But no, this it's a wonderful opportunity, man, to rub elbows or rub camera lenses, with a fellow hobbyist.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I've taken the most pleasure about doing this. And any of the content that when you start off your channel, you're not really sure what direction you're going to take or what you're going to be doing. Um, and one of the things that I discovered, because you kind of discover things as you're growing, was my, I guess, affinity for getting to know people and stuff like that. And this has been a great opportunity for me to meet a lot of people that I know under normal circumstances probably would have never have met. We probably wouldn't, if we crossed paths, we would have just kind of been another stranger walking by us, and never understanding how much stuff we have in common and things like that. So, I've never taken for granted the opportunity that being on YouTube and being able to do these interviews has really you know given me, because like I said, a lot of this stuff, a lot of these people, almost, well, not a lot, I guarantee you that almost everybody in the chat and everybody that's been here with me, if it wasn't for the hobby, there's no way that that destiny would have brought us together and said, hey, I'm a fish keeper, and stuff like that. Because again, it's such a niche hobby that you don't go around telling everybody you meet, hey, hi, my name is Jorge, I keep fish. It's not it's not the things that you normally talk about, at least not for me. And it's always interesting how you kind of work that into a conversation, because it is kind of awkward. People, for people that don't do this, they kind of look at you. Oh, you have a fish tank? No, I have multiple fish tanks. So
And they're like, hey, how can you look at all those fish at the same time? It can be done.
not all at the same time, but I see a lot of them. No, but and I guess you have to be able to do this to understand the fascination behind it. And the fascination can be in different areas, whether you're trying to discover behavior, you're trying to learn breeding or whatever it is. I mean, you don't necessarily have to do any of those things. You could just simply admire the beauty of the fish. And there's just so much stuff you could do that you try to explain that to a person that doesn't keep aquariums, and you're going to be hard pressed to kind of convince them why it's a cool thing.
Uh-oh, you're blanking out on me now.
Oh, am
Hello?
I? Yeah, you're there. You're fine. Your feed's actually
Okay.
coming in pretty good on my end.
Okay. Okay. You're smooth again.
Okay. I've never been smooth, but thank you.
Ah!
So I know there's a lot of stuff that's happened in your personal life, and you've had to take a break Um, do you foresee in the near future being able to come back?
Yes, I do. I was, working a lot of overtime, which in turns was, well, I guess I can use the word affording because I enjoyed it for a spell. Afforded me a lot of opportunities to travel, and to see stuff I hadn't seen before. And I'm trying to streamline that now. Um, all I'm missing at this point is time and Wi-Fi because I haven't, set down my roots well enough to say, hey, let me get some Wi-Fi. My daughter and I are here looking at our phones rather than TV. But I'm gonna try to get some Wi-Fi. Let's get on back rolling. I missed them lately. I don't know if anybody have noticed. I've been in a lot of streams in the chats here lately.
Yes, and that's
Every chance I get, I'm popping up in the stream. So,
and then I saw you on one of the recent ones say you were on vacation. I said, "Oops, maybe this is time to reach out and see if he's got a little bit of time."
but yeah, look, I've been up. Polar opposite. I've been up for a while trying to. Oh, let me put the lights over. My daughter's like, "Is it this early?" I was like, "No," but I'm crossing the T's and dotting the I's. Hey, anxiety and everything. I'm like, man, I ain't been on camera so long. I got to get it right. Got to get it right.
So right now,
This is probably the best lighting I've had ever.
you're using one of the ring lights.
Yeah, I've always had this ring light. I just have never taken the time. I guess that I did this go around. I guess because I was always usually the interviewer, so there was other things I was focused on. But this time it's just like, hey, they got to see me. It's got to be close enough. Let me get the right angle. Which I still feel crooked, but hey, it'll be okay.
Well, if you look at all the
And I thank you for asking.
oh no, that's my pleasure. I mean, I was looking forward, but I didn't, I understood how busy and the transition you were going through. I was like, you know what? I know eventually things will settle down. Eventually you'll start resurfacing again. So when I saw that, I said, yeah, this is if it's a good time, it's probably now. So that's why I reached out and I figured, if you're on vacation and I started seeing you almost every single day on different streams, I was like, yeah, he's got time.
Yeah, most definitely.
Man, it's really lagging bad, huh?
Okay, now you're back. Yeah, it froze up on me.
Oh, okay.
Okay, what was your question? Did you have a question right there,
No,
D?
no, no, no. I was just commenting that the fact that I figured you had a little bit because you said thank you for having you on. I said, well, I was trying to find the right opportunity because I understand how much stuff was going on and you've been busy and you hadn't really been
Yep.
present socially on any of the streams. But when I started seeing you on a more reoccurring moment, and then all of a sudden you said you were on vacation, I said, "Wow, this is might be the right time to be able to extend the invitation because I wouldn't be putting you in a situation where you're trying to figure out your schedule and stuff like that." So that's why I took a stab and it landed, I guess.
Gotcha. Yeah, like when, when I chose the date, I didn't realize it was 2 days away. I was like, yeah, I can do it this day. And I said, you got to remind me early. He said, well, I'll remind you tomorrow. I said, oh my God, for real?
Well, that's what I really knew. I really knew that you were on vacation because you had totally lost track of time.
Yeah, it was crazy. I said, wait a minute, that is 2 days. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, but no, but it's just like I said, you've really been missed. To be honest with you, I used to look forward to your live streams, um, and it'd be nice. It'd be nice to see you back on here on a more regular basis.
Yeah, yeah. Man, I'm seeing all these new faces. I'm like, who is that? Who is that? Who is
Oh
that? I
yeah,
don't know anybody. I don't
man.
know anybody.
This is what I love about the community and the friends that you make on by doing this and stuff like that. I got Jeff Cade sending me messages about it, how important it is to be punctual and not to be late, because it's one of the things that I've always harped on. I've always made a point that you got to value people's time, and so I'm glad that they're calling me out on it. That's the reality check to keep you honest.
I got you. I got you. I got you. And there's nothing more important. It used to exist a whole lot more once upon a time where, men holding men accountable. It's like nowadays.
Oh, darn. Oh, he'll be right back. But yeah, it's good because this is a way to keep you grounded and stay within reality, I guess, of things. But it's like Sarah Skitty Nono was saying that karma kicked my butt. Yeah, I did. I'm calling you out. Cut me some slack. Yeah, don't worry. I'm still gonna give people a hard time about being late, even though I was hypocritical today and was like 15 minutes late. But no, it's just it's I like it how life has a way of slapping you in the face when you start thinking you're getting, when you get a little bit sassy and you think you're unreproachable, and then you go out and turn around and get dabbed in the face for doing something that you precisely criticize others for doing. So you gotta love it. You gotta roll with it. Guarantee you, it'll be very, very, very far few in between if it ever happens again. Well, I know it's all good. I just there he is. Yeah, I can't believe Hank's on. I watch it. Yeah, sweet koi. Let's see. There he is. All right, you're back, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Oh man, are we still struggling?
Because I'm not hearing you.
Oh, well, I wasn't saying anything.
Come on. Hang in there.
Reminds me of the days when you had carburetor.
I'm not hearing you good. Hold on.
Oh man.
Am I frozen now?
No, you see, that's the curious thing. You're coming in real smooth on my end, and the audio's good too.
Okay. Let me see. Can you hear? Check. Okay, that's behind. I'll try to see if I can use the audio
from
my tablet.
Okay.
Yeah,
because
I'm hearing you now, and you're looking good.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Okay. I can hear you.
Okay, perfect.
It's a whole torture test.
It's Murphy's Law.
Oh, it's messing up again. God, no.
Yeah. That's because you're going off of your actual cell phone data, right?
Yeah. Because I swear my tablet is doing better than the phone.
You want to switch it to the
but this tablet is one of the. Oh no, it's one of the cheapest. It's one of the cheapest things you can get. I think it's just working because I'm looking down at it. And I think it's actually it's delayed, so it wouldn't be good anyway.
Well, you sound.
But we're here. I think.
Yeah, you sound and it's looking good. The feed is looking good on my end.
Okay. We're gonna just keep rocking with it.
Yeah, we'll roll with the punches. I mean, really? That's not gonna. Yes.
I have some fish news I want to throw in there. You know,
Go ahead.
I've gone full circle, so I can't help but get back on the screen. I got some black ball endless in class black ball endless from HD Adrian HD 2 days ago, and that's how I started out on this. You know, endless before I went to a big whole bunch of tanks and different types of fish. I started out with endless, and I just went back to my roots. You know, because I really still love those little fish. I got a 29 tall acrylic over there with some endless, and I'm gonna mix with some regular common feeder guppies, and I'm gonna mix them with endless. And I've done it before, and you'd be surprised all of the beautiful color patterns that you get from it. It's gonna be a wonderful ride here.
So you're going to try to create a line? Is that what you're saying?
Yes and no. Not like I'm going to be trying to refine and it's going to be something that's just going to be, cemented out there in the hobby. No, just something for my own enjoyment, just to see all the colors. And I have a fish store, local fish store that once upon a time, used to like the endlers that I would bring that were mixed like that. Because they sold actually pretty good. So I'll see if he still could use them because they breed and they breed and they breed. So at some point in time, I'm gonna be overrun. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's been
No,
a long time since I could focus in that manner in regards to the hobby.
I know with all the changes that you went through, are you still keeping reptiles?
No, all I have is these fish. And when we move from here, hopefully I'll be able to get back into something else. I have tanks. I have more tanks now and larger tanks than I had when I was up and running, but they're in storage. See how that works. So that means I'm gonna have a whole fish room when I move.
Well, I know the one that always used to you had, what was it, like a 40 gallon on a little brackets on the wall or something like that, or
50,
on the
55, 55 gallon on the little bookshelf in the closet.
that used to make me so nervous.
Mhm. And the crazy part is being on the outside looking at it. No, it was sketchy. I mean, admit that. But being on the outside looking in, it was very scary. But I was often, I would take a level, put my level up there, and I'd check, look at the brackets, and they would never move. So I'm like, okay, I don't know how, which made no sense for me to be, in that mindset. I'm like, I don't know how it's doing it, but it's not moving. It's not giving in any way, shape, or form. I mean, I guess it was really anchored into those studs in the wall. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
But I woke up at the wall. I'm like, man, get that off there. Get it off. Get it off. Get it off.
Yeah, you were playing around with borrowed time on that one.
Because I didn't want one of those. I'm gonna wake you up in the middle of the night. I had I want to say it was close to 100 gallon tank with some baby alligators in it, and the tank actually was from a school biology class, so it had the plug in the bottom, so it wasn't for fish. But at that time, I had no idea that it was just for like with terrarium. Go. I shut down again. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. But yeah, you're back.
Okay. So it's middle of the night. I'm sleeping well, and I hear whoosh. I come out and look. The bottom's dropped out of the tank on the table. Water all over the carpet. The tank was still outside. The tank was still up, but the bottom had just whoosh, and it was crazy. So I say, yeah, that tank with the plugs in it are not for fish. Nope, don't make that mistake again.
Yeah, no, it's it that's those are all some of the experiences that we all go through. Not only, not only do you have to learn how to keep fish alive, but you have to keep the aquariums from falling off or doing all these things, because I know when I started out, I was just kind of throwing things together. I was using all kinds of different furnitures and night dressers, and you know trying to figure out things to use as stands. um because I know in the beginning I wasn't sure how serious I was going to get into this. I didn't want to go do the mistake of making a big, large investment and building stuff, and then like 2 months later say, I don't want to do this anymore. So, so every time when you start off, it things can be kind of sketchy at first.
Yeah, it's all a learning process, and it's I would not change. No, I guess I can't say I wouldn't change anything. I would not want to change the trajectory of it, but yeah, some of the ways I did stuff, yeah, I might want to change that.
Yeah, no, yeah, yeah. I
Ooh.
think
Yeah,
the experiences and the learning would be stuff I wouldn't change, but the way I did things, even just in my personal life, yeah, I'd go back and change some of those things because we make some horrible mistakes in the way of uh, of learning.
oh, sound went
Did it?
just glitched out. Now I'm back
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
You're
Let's
sounding like a
see.
robot.
That's not good.
Let me see.
Yeah, no, there's nothing worse. Well, it's bad enough that you overflow your tanks, but it's even worse when you overflow them and you're actually sitting in the fish room and you don't notice it because you're you're on a live stream. I've done that a couple of times. Matter of fact, uh, I had just recently, maybe like at the beginning of the week, uh, this young man from Australia reached out and said that he was working on a video trying to do like a collab. And one of the things that he was talking about is what's one of the biggest mistakes that you've made as a fish keeper or something to that effect. And ironically enough, my most recent one that I could think about in the fish room was actually about overrunning a fish tank, and it was my pleco grow out, and 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 that was must have been just just before winter started, sometime in the fall when that incident happened to me. And it was one of those things where I'm sitting in the tank is literally right here, right next to me. And let's see, looks like Hank's back. Hey Hank.
All right, all right. We might get done this time.
Too bad I can't. Well, I'll have to go back and edit all the little glitches out of it, which will go from a being an hour stream to about a 5 minute stream.
Let's
Or
hope we got information in that.
yeah, I know. Or we could go back and do the Max Headroom commercials with
And
the Pepsi.
I've had some pre-cat practice. Oh man. But yes, I was the king of overflowing takes distracted, ADHD. Yeah, I would get it started. It would just take me seconds to be distracted. I got it going.
Well, that incident I was talking
Out of
about,
sight, out of mind.
and and it's funny because I started doing it. I'm literally sitting right next to it. It's right here to my left hand side, probably your guys is right, and I can see the aquarium. So I thought, all right, I'm gonna be slick. I'm gonna take advantage of it. And I think I was either listening to a live stream or I was on the panel of a live stream, something like that. But anyways, I drained it, which is no problem because it's only going to drain as far down as to what the hook that I have. So I wasn't concerned about not paying attention to that, and I let it drain all the way to where it was going to do that. And then I turned around and I put the fill hole in the fill holes in, and I remember turning it on not full blast, but like probably a quarter of the so that it would kind of trickle in there, and I wouldn't have to be constantly looking over to see it fill up. And and I must have been like half an hour into whatever I was doing, got done, and then the door rang at the front of the house. And we usually don't get a lot of you know foot traffic in our neighborhood unless you're getting a package delivered or something like that is usually the only time the doorbell rings. And I remember just getting up, totally forgetting about the fact that I was filling up the aquarium, and went over there, answered the door. It was one of for a while there, we had a bunch of the guys that sell the solar panels coming by, and he was just trying to do the sales pitch, whatever. I told him I wasn't interested. I walked by the kitchen and I go, oh, you know what? I better get something to eat because it's getting close for me to go to work. So, I make a sandwich and something and I sit down and eat it. And then I get up, and this whole time I forgot that I'm filling up the aquarium, but it was filling up so slow that, I just totally forgot. Went, took a shower, got ready, took off to work. Well, my wife was going to be, we weren't going to cross paths for like 2 hours. Well, she was going to be home in 2 hours. And so I'm at work. It's probably like an hour and 45 minutes that I'm at work when my wife calls me. And my wife seldomly calls. She'll send me a text to find out if I'm busy at work and I can get back to her. But she called me, and I thought immediately, I figured something was wrong because it's not very usual behavior for her to call me out of the blues. And so I answered, and she goes, I think one of the pipes in the house broke, because she's pulling up in the driveway and she can see water coming out of the garage door. And I'm like, no way. And I told her, I was like, go check in the fish room. Maybe one of the aquariums busted a seam or something. That was my immediate reaction, because at this time I still hadn't remembered that that I had left the water on. I totally forgot about it. And so she walks in there, and she's got me on the camera as she's walking in, and I told her, put me on the camera because I want to see where the problem's at. And she walks in and she's kind of looking at everything, and everything looks fine. You're looking back, there's all the aquariums have water or anything. But she goes, but I can hear water running. And at that minute, it just dawned on me, I had left the water on. So the water must have been running for at least 2 hours, because that was the time. By the time I left home, it wasn't running out of the garage. And by the time she got back home, it was coming out. So it had been overrunning for a very, very minimum an hour and a half. And so by the time I got home, it was already like 10 o'clock at night. And I told her, you know what, I'll deal with it when I get home. So I got home, came in here and looked. Everything seemed fine. So I went to bed, came back the next morning, and I'm moving a bunch of stuff off the bottom of the aquarium, because I have my rack set up, and then I have a space where I use for storage. And I figured I'm going to pull everything out, let it air out, because I'm only on concrete. I don't have anything in here. And as I'm doing that, I could see this trail of little carcasses of little plecos hidden all the way out to the garage door. There must have been like 6 or 7 of them. They're all dried out. But here's the thing. One of them, I guess the one that was at wherever the biggest puddle of water was, he was sort of dry, but I could see his mouth still kind of trying to move. So I got him and threw him in a bucket, because I had recently seen the video of on TikTok, the one where that big old giant pleco looks like he's all crusted out, and they pour water in his mouth and he starts going crazy. I said, I wonder if this is real. So I threw him in a bucket and left him there for a day, came back, and the sucker was alive. It was a little bristlenose. So he's the only one that made it. The other ones were really, really dried out, because it was just there was no puddle. It just ran off. As a matter of fact, I think I even found some out on the driveway that had kind of worked wherever the water was flowing. It was the current, I guess, must have been enough where they were able to swim with the current, and they got all the way out there. But I was like, what the hell? I felt pretty bad, because these guys passed away because it was a stupidity that I made. So Sarah,
Yeah.
Barbara, don't feel too bad about overrunning tanks unless you do something like what I did.
And the baby. Did you think about the baby plecos being in there when you first found out that it was leaking like that, or
No.
overflowing?
No, because you're so used to seeing the plecos always staying at the bottom, and the water wasn't like gushing over. It was just like trickling over the top. Because the water wasn't on very, very, I didn't have it full blast. So it was just like a slight cascade over the top of the aquarium. But obviously it was big enough where these guys got curious and decided to go with the current. and went right out the aquarium, hit the bottom. They worked their way through that. They must have been thinking they were going back home. They said, let's make a break for it.
Oh,
But I was pretty bummed out.
oh
I
man.
was definitely
And
upset when it happened. Now I just laugh about it because what am I going to do? It's just,
yeah, yeah.
but it was, yeah. So that was the experience that I shared with, I think, Ned's Fish Tips is his name. He's out of Australia, and he wanted to do something like that. So I said, oh, that's the most recent one. And like I told him on the video, it's not the only one. I think anybody that's been keeping fish for some time has multiple mistakes that we can talk about.
Yep. Yeah. And like I said, the ironic part, I've only had one tank spring a leak and it weighed, well, not talking about the alligators, but when I actually had the fish room, up running those fish room, and it waited till I was sitting right in front of it to actually spring a leak. I
Oh,
think, was I about to do a live stream? I don't know. I could have been feeding anything, but it was a 10 gallon, I had a row of 10-gallon tanks, uh, long ways. And I'm just sitting there and I see, boop, and there's a 20-gallon long directly under that row of tens. So it's dropping into the 20-gallon long again. A blessing. Boop, I'm looking. Boop, go up to the tank. Oh, drain it. Take the fish out. Move it. And there was a crack running down the bottom of it. But I found it just in time. All I got was maybe 5 or 6 drops, that fell. But it was as I sat there, which was it was so good, man. Oh my goodness.
we see, and that's the thing. We tend to lose sense of how much water 10 gallons is, because you look at a 10-gallon aquarium, especially when you're keeping multiple tanks and you got different sizes. You look at a 10-gallon aquarium, you go, oh, that's a tiny aquarium. It's, if it leaks, it's no big deal. Mistakenly, we make that assumption, but it's the equivalent of taking 2 buckets of water and just throwing them on the floor, and to really realize how much water 10 gallons
Yeah.
can be. And even a 5-gallon aquarium that for some reason fails or whatever, uh, it's a lot of water. It's a lot of water to have 5 gallons or 10 gallons on your floor, much less 75 gallons, 150, 240, those kind of things. It's like, that's a lot of water.
Yeah, I take dirt, anything of that nature over water coming out of a tank. I'll take it all. I raised dogs for a long time. I'll take a puppy with upset stomach, spoil it in my house over the water, turn it loose out of a tank because it's still spots. Oh, but that water is like I'm going everywhere that I'm allowed to go. Whoosh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no,
The
it's
things that we experience.
yeah, you keep fish long enough, you're gonna have stories. It's just bound to happen. And unfortunately, a lot of the times it's just mistakes that we make, and we end up, killing a colony of fish, or, and a lot of the times it's something that we do that we just didn't take precaution to prevent it. And but the good thing is, I don't know about you, but I tend to learn from those, and I try not to repeat them again. You become a little bit more self conscious about what you're doing, and trying to go, oh, okay, no, I better not do that, because there's a potential for a big mistake to happen.
Yeah, most of no, I definitely know. I don't believe in doing something twice, which is I just don't believe in that. As a youngster, oh, I used to knock my head against the wall often, so I guess I learned then too. Yeah, I believed in running against the same. I'm gonna get through this time. No, no. How about you just go to the door and go in?
Yeah, but it's that's just, it is what it is, I guess. But you know, it's I don't I don't I don't think it's bad to share those experiences, because for one, we're not perfect. And two, if people can also see, they go, "Oh, okay. I mean, I see that I'm not the only one making similar mistakes, or stuff like that." Or you could help prevent somebody from making that same mistake by just sharing, your mishaps.
Yeah, that was the key one right there to me. Helping somebody else not make the same mistake. Most
Yeah, but
definitely.
depending on what stage in your life you're in, I know about when I was maybe 30 years younger. ah, you could have told me exactly what was going to happen, and I was of the opinion, yeah, but I'm going to do it different, so it's not going to happen to me. You don't want to learn from other people's mistakes. It's not until we start getting a little bit of gray and you know, it start getting a little bit more less hair on the top that you start realizing, the older you get, you go, you know what? There's something to be said about learning from somebody else's experiences, bad experiences. I don't need to replicate those. I'll take your word for it.
Uh-oh, sound went out on me.
Oh, did it? I was wondering. I didn't know if it was a bad delay or I was putting you to sleep.
Okay, there we go. It's back.
Okay. Yeah, I know. But well, like I said, so how far in the future are you guys looking at moving again and getting finally your own place?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea. Uh, we're just chilling at the moment, just chilling, trying to save up some pennies. And we'll see what the future looks like. Maybe changing jobs in the next few months. I'm trying
Oh,
to weigh
okay.
all these different things out.
So are you still doing the correctional work?
Yep, yep. And after a while, I don't know how people make it 30 years doing that. I've only been doing it. Well, I've only been doing it 10 years in the prison system. I was at a sheriff's department working in corrections in the 90s, but I've been in the prison unit for 10 years. Well, multiple units, but yeah, it's a weight in itself to carry if you are in any way, shape, or form a morally upright individual. I didn't say perfect, but morally upright. After a while, it becomes heavy. And when I had my medical scare a year and a half or so ago at work, you have a tendency to look at everything a little bit differently. And I know part of the stress of working in that system, added to it on top of my divorce, and I can say it. That was also part of depression. There was some things that I needed to clear out of my life so I could stay alive, and I did that. And I'm here in the camera today with a smile on my face.
Yeah, my middle son, he works in corrections out here in California, and I can see that he's been there for now. I think it's going on 10 years. 10, yeah, yeah, he's going up on 10 years, and I can see it wearing on him. He's prematurely aging. I mean, I can see it, but it's just the environment that he's having to deal with on a daily basis. And
Yep.
and I it used to be with at least with California up until recently, you only did 20 years for a full career. You were for law enforcement, you could just do 20 years and retire. But I guess within the last 3 or 4 years, my son was telling me that they went back and changed that. Um, they dangled a little bit more money over a lot of the COs, and not realizing that the advantage was only to have to do 20 years and you could be out, kind of like the service, and get full retirement. Well, because they threw an extra couple of zeros on their pay, a lot of these guys fell for it and didn't realize how taxing it was going to be to try to commit more than 20 years. I know most of the guys that I grew up with, because that prison opened up right around when we graduated from high school, like in the early 90s. And I would say a very large percentage of the men that graduated from my class went to, because we had two state institutions open up in our community. So they were just hiring anybody they could get their hands on. And I remember the big appeal to be able to get correctional officers was giving them a 20-year retirement. You work for 20 years and you're done. You get full retirement, full pension. And that was kind of the appeal. But it's like everything else. There's a reason why is designed like that. I think about, I don't know, about 20% of those guys never made it all the way through because either they were leaving on a lot of them on medical retirements because it was either them getting hurt on the job. Mostly was them getting hurt on the job, or just some of them just mentally taxing. Um, just dealing with what a prison is. I mean, you're going to see a lot of things that are pretty traumatic for most people. So I guess we lost Hank again. Yeah, gone again. No, no worries. Um, if you can get back up here, you can back up here. If not, then it is what it is. If you can't, then it gives us another excuse to rehash it out. But anyways, while he's working up on trying to get back, let me take the time out to show my appreciation for everybody that's been joining us for this live stream, and especially for those that had to wait for me. I know I keep harping on that, but it really does bother me that I was here so late. Here we go. Let me see. Hey Hank, you back? Yeah, we're gonna do this into a shorts live stream. Every time you drop out, it'll be a little segment we'll put out. Oh man,
And it's still flashing on me. But we made it. Hey, we'd have made it through 51 minutes though.
Yeah, yeah. I just don't know
Ooh.
how bad is on the other end. I'm not gonna get a sense of it until I actually watch the replay. Hopefully, it's not too bad. There's still quite a bit of people
Yeah,
here joining us today especially on a Sunday morning. Thank you so much for taking the time out to hang out with Hank and myself. So
yes, thank y'all very, very much. I super appreciate it.
yeah, because it's for a
Let
Sunday,
some of the
it's
new
still
people
early.
see my face.
Yeah, yeah, and those of you that have never really met Hank before, I encourage you guys to go check out his channel. Um, I took a lot of inspiration from Hank for what I do. I mean, he's basically one of the people that has created this motto of being able to have these dialogues with other content creators, and also one of the things that Hank has done a little bit different is he reached out across the aisle from not only interviewing fish keepers, but a lot of the reptile community too. So that's one of the things that you know that Hank has been done, and then he's got a lot of good videos on. I You have some on the wild tide bettas, don't you? The little things that look like little snakeheads. The the I forget what the name of that species is called. The mouse brooders.
Oh, beta chinoides,
Mm-hmm.
beta chinoides.
Shinardies. Yeah, those are the ones that look like little snakeheads, right?
Yeah,
Or at least they remind me
yeah.
of a little
And
snakehead.
man, I no, and chinoides is snakehead.
Oh,
Chinoids aren't the snakehead chinoids.
I don't know. I know what they look like, but I've never really spent a lot of time knowing a lot about them because I know we can't have them here. So it's just I see them. I think they're cool. I like the dwarf ones. Those are and the coloration on the dwarf snakeheads is really nice. But it's just one of those things where I know
Yep,
unless I move to outside the United States, I'm not going to be able to keep it.
yep, yep. Yeah, that was one of those when we speak of mistakes, mistakes that we have. I killed two 20-gallon longs of beta chinoides. Not one other fish in the tanks died. And I, to this day, don't know what happened. And I have not bought anymore because it broke my heart. When I tell you it was a holy grail fish, I successfully had them breeding. I had like 50 of them in two tanks, and then they just swoop. Oh, man. Yeah, I haven't even tried to go back down that road again. It's crazy how it affected me.
Yeah, no, it's especially. I mean, it's always like I said. I know I was making light of the fact that I lost those bristlenose, but at the time, I was very upset at myself. Um, I just don't want to dwell on that feeling of being upset because at the end of the day, it was my responsibility that I killed them, and I know that. But especially when you have a species that you've been pursuing and you finally get your hands on because they're not easy to come by or whatever to to lose them, yeah, it could be pretty upsetting. Did I lose you?
Glitching again.
No, okay. I figured.
Say something. Okay,
No.
I hear you. I
Yeah,
hear you now.
I was just oh, look, here's Jeff was saying that yeah, they're known as the head snake betta. Yeah, I I didn't know about those bettas if it wasn't for me seeing them on your channel.
Yeah, man. Look, I got him from. Let me see. Uh, he's been out of YouTube for a while now. Let me see if I can remember his name. He was from Hawaii. Somebody help me out. Somebody help me out. Oh my God.
I think I know who you're talking about,
He.
right? But
Oh
he had
wait.
mostly guppies, right?
He had a lot of guppies. He had a lot of guppies, and his tanks were outside. I mean, there
Yeah,
was a cover, but they were outside. Like all of his tanks were outside.
yeah. I wow. I even used to know his first name too, which is bad. Now that I haven't seen, do you know what? I haven't seen him in a
Yes,
while though. It's got to be like a year and a half, 2 years that I haven't seen
he
anything.
moved.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah, he moved and got rid of everything. But I don't personally know like what was the reasoning or that part I never got.
Hmm. Yeah, and God. And yeah, I used to like it because he would live stream from his fish room, and he was kind of like outdoors. That I always thought that was really neat. He just had it was basically like a covered porch or something like that, where he had all his aquariums, right?
Yep, yep. And he left. He would jump off the live stream, whether it be his or somebody else's, to go eat dinner. And he ate dinner kind of early. That's the one thing I always remember. Hey, all right, you guys, I have to go. It's time for dinner. Burn off. I said, hey, his wife must have said, hey, you eat my dinner hot or you don't get none.
Or it's the last meal that I ever cooked.
Oh.
Hey, but boss lady says it's time. It's time.
Uh-oh, here we
You,
go again.
yeah, you still there?
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I'm here.
So
It
when
had you
you
there you go. All right.
okay when you reset up your fish room,
Come again.
any species you're looking forward to keeping that you might not have kept yet?
Ah, well, there's some species I know that I want to go back to. I
Okay.
see my going back to Oscars and actually trying to get them to breed. You'll see somebody, oh, I think I have some Oscar eggs, and then you don't hear nothing else. So I've not successfully seen anybody. It's had to have happened, but the follow-up videos never seem to come out. So I never know if they, raise the babies up, to enough, big enough to age enough where they can get rid of them. So I want to see that happen. Um, and let me see, what's the name of them? Uh, the little fish that looks like the males look like they're on fire. The dorsal and the tail fin look like flames. And they breed in the coconut shells.
Oh, the cockatoo pistogrammas.
Pistogrammas, yeah. I've been I've been thinking about getting into pistogrammas because I didn't really realize how many different ones that was out there until a little while ago. Looking at a few videos, and I'm like, yeah, that's a crazy number. I was clueless.
Yes, and apparently it's been fairly recent that I used to be probably in the same assumption as you that there was only like two, like three or four different species, but it seems like every time I go looking for these epistogrammas, there's more and more and more, and they're all just as beautiful. I mean, they all have their particular traits and stuff like that, but I like the attitude in a little small package. I mean that's
Thank you.
I think that's so neat because I find it easier to set up a 10-gallon species only tank than dedicating a 75 or bigger to one single
Yep.
fish. So that's why I don't mind them. But yeah, I guess they can be pretty rough in the community especially when they get to breeding, and they can be real rough on each other. They'll
I
the
have some that you see. You need to see when you think about that. In this tank here, I have two scarlet baddest, and when I say,
oh
and you talking about rough, where they try to be rough on the other fish in the tank, they can keep one side of the tank to themselves pretty easily, but they're so little, man. They're so little, and I have scuds. I call it a scud ranch. I made a video. I actually have a video with one little fish. His name is Sebastian, and I have scuds everywhere. Initially, I have never seen those two baddest eat pellets, eat flake, anything. But just because I knew that was a possibility, I let the scuds just go and go and go and go. So this fish, that one particular one, Sebastian, I've had Sebastian a year. I've never seen Sebastian eat, you know, anything. But he's just as fat and colorful and frisky as he wants to be. I mean, but of course I know what he's eating, but you don't see it because he does it at night. I guess that's when he's hunting. You'll see him lurking around. This particular light has like a moonlight phase where it's like a dark blue, but you can still see into the tank. And you can see him, lurking around. I'm assuming he's eating then, but I've never seen him eat in a year.
yeah, no, it's just I've seen them, and they get what, about an inch and a half is probably 2 inches maybe when they're
Yeah,
fully grown.
he may be. He may be two. Let
Yeah,
me see. Pinky knuckle, first knuckle link. Yeah, maybe about 2 inches.
yeah. So and I know they'll tear down if you have a shrimp tank. They'll wipe that out eventually. As tiny as
Well,
they
see, I
are.
have. Let me see. I have. Ah, come on now. Stop fighting me. Do I need to? I don't know if I want to try. Let me try to turn the camera around. I hope I don't have a mishap here.
Oh well, it's all right. Nothing more than jumping back on if that happens.
Hey, right. All right. There we go. So I have a lot that
Hiding
the
there.
babies and whatnot. See my sparkling. I have about five sparkling gouramis in there. Let me
With
see. I
the
got.
baddest.
Yep. Let
Well,
me see
it's
if I
20
can.
long, right?
20 long, huh?
Okay. So he's
Oh,
got
they
his
don't
own.
bother. The baddest are on that side, and he's on this side. Let me see if I can find. He knows I'm looking for him.
Yeah, he's looking at you and he's going, "Nope, I got you, sucker." He's in the brush.
Got a wild guppy there. Yeah, he. Well, that's two of them, so both of them are hiding on me. If I'm sitting on the couch, they're out front just rolling about. But yeah, they're hiding real
Oh
good
yeah,
right now.
that's what I was talking to the guys yesterday. I recently got some celestial pearl daniels, some CPDs, and I
Uh-huh.
have them in a 10-gallon tank. And the one that I put them in there, they have a lot of guppy grass. And I was thinking, all right, that's going to help them, not be shy. But every day I have to sit here when I feed and sit away and look at the tank from an angle just to make sure they're still there because I don't see them unless I feed them and I get away from the aquarium. And then they slowly start lurking out of the brush that's in there, the guppy grass, and then I go, okay, yeah, they're still in there. But other than that, I'd never see them. Oh, he must have frozen. Yeah, and I've tried because I the way I have the
Pete,
10-gallon.
how many of them?
I got a group of 11.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, there was supposed to be 12, but the guy couldn't fish out the last one out of his fish tank, so he sold me just 11.
I heard they breed pretty well in a heavily planted tank like that.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm hoping. Like I said, it's a 10-gallon. That's I have some. That 10-gallon was originally my first shrimp aquarium that I had set up in there, and then I just started kind of pulling from that group there because it wasn't a very. It was just like the generic um, um, cherry shrimp. So it wasn't a fixed line. So once in a while you get like a real dark bodied one. So I started calling I did the opposite callings. Instead of pulling all the discolored ones, I would pull only the brightly colored ones and was putting them in a different aquarium. So that one is like a hodgepodge of wild looking shrimp that have kind of reverted back to the wild. I'll have a lot of like cleared body ones. And but that's predominantly what's in there. But I don't get rid of them just because, if I need I like keeping shrimp on all my aquariums, regardless of what the livestock's in there, because I've purposely have set them up where it gives them hide areas. I'm not gonna have like a really big colony sprawling out of it because they get picked off. But you stare long enough at my aquariums, and you're gonna go, "What? You have shrimp in there?" And that's because I just kind of throw coals or whatever in there, and there's enough hiding areas to be able to successfully reproduce and keep a colony, but it's nothing that I could pull and sell neon shrimp out of there. But either way, that 10-gallon, that's kind of what it was. It was just kind of they were kind of going by themselves and doing that. So I have a lot of rock piles. And then at one point I forgot what other species I was trying to breed there that I put like a deli cup with some rocks and some moss towards the end of it. Uh, and you know what it was? I was trying to breed my white clouds when I was actively trying to breed them. And I remember setting that up there, and it's always been in there. I don't have the white clouds in there anymore. I have them in a display tank now, and so I threw the CPDs in there, and there's a lot of guppy grass. You can't see if you look at the front of it, you can't see all the way through it to the back because all you see is guppy grass. So I figured this is probably going to be the ideal spot for them, and I always purposely leave about 3 inches of empty space in the front because that's usually what most of the species that I've had in there will come out and hang out, and that's where I feed. So I purposely put the food there because it pulls whatever's in there to come out and eat, and I can watch them. Well, these guys haven't gotten used to that, I don't think, because they'll be hanging out. I can kind of see them hanging out by the sponge filter in the back, and when I go around the rack, they can see me coming, and they all dart up to the front. So we're playing hide and seek with each other. And the only time I really do get to see them is exactly where I'm sitting here because they're right here in this aquarium right here. I'll feed it, turn off the lights, and I can, if I sit here, I'll see them come up to the front of the glass. They'll eat and then they'll take off. Anytime if they see me move or whatever, they're like, up later. So hopefully with time they'll get used to the fact that I hang out in the fish room and that it's okay that I'm not a predator. But we'll see.
And
I
I
took
found the
oh
CPD
sorry.
has been somewhat of a reclusive to an extent. When I used to have them, they sometimes would follow around some of the other fish that I would have, but them themselves, yeah, they wasn't trying to come up and do too much hanging out with me anyway.
Yeah, and I was talking about them yesterday, and some people, I guess they get comfortable enough where they're like always in the front. We'll see. I give him time. I know when I first got the clown killifish, that was the same thing. I never saw them. They were all hanging out in the back, and now they've gotten so used to it. Well, actually, what I have two dominant, I guess two dom. I don't know. They're not males because I don't see the flames on the tails, so they got to. They have to be females, and but they're like the boss ladies of the aquarium, and they're always hanging out now in the front where I always see them. And now they see me and they associate me with food, and they start coming up towards the top of the aquarium. And so I'm hoping the same thing happens with the CBD, giving them enough time. But although right now I'm pretty sure they're predating on all the little shrimplets, so they're like, "Screw you! I don't need your food."
What is he dirtying our tank up with?
Yeah,
Ah,
but yeah, the hope is to be able to get them to reproduce. I've always been fascinated by those little fish. There's a gentleman that I did a fish tour of his fish room. His name's Mike Coleman, and he has. I wish I would have recorded that because they were laughing so hard, and I guess it's he has this like it's like a 40-gallon, but it's like what those flu ball flex tanks that have the filtration system. Wow. And he's posted a couple of pictures of that aquarium. It's so heavily planted, and he keeps nothing but nano species in that aquarium. But it's one of those aquariums where the longer you sit in front of it, the more life you start discovering inside the aquarium, because you start looking at first it's overwhelming, all the plants and the different species of plants that he's keeping in there, and that's kind of what draws you first. And then you start paying attention and you start seeing little sparkling gouramis come out. You start seeing some shrimp come out. Uh, and then I remember I was looking and they were just kind of waiting for my reaction when all of a sudden the CPDs dart out. But I don't know what he's doing because I've never seen a coloration on CPDs like what he had. I mean, they were like vivid, almost like if they had lights that were making them much brighter, because a lot of them will get that orange in their finish. That sucker was like bright red orange. And I was like, whoa, it just kind of blew me away. And they were laughing when they heard my reaction because I guess everybody that goes over and looks at an aquarium, that's pretty much the similar reaction they get from them. It was just they looked so good. And I had already been interested in them, and that was the first time I saw them live. After that, I was hooked. I said, I need to get me some CBDs. And as luck would have it, somebody was selling them, and I jumped right on it. I didn't even question how much he was asking for them. I said, I'll take them before, because he posted them on Facebook. And I said, whatever it is you want for the group, I got you. Just let me know. And yeah, sure enough, he told me, and I said, yep, you got a deal. And I think I ended up getting them relatively inexpensive because I think I was looking online, though, depending on where you shop, they can go anywhere between $6 to $8 a fish. Some places even a lot more, which I don't understand. But I ended up getting them like $3 a pop, which is dirt cheap. So, but that was the latest acquisition. I don't even think I did a video on that, to be honest, because I think it was one of those things where it's a spur of the moment. You see it pop up on uh on oh, I'm drawing a blank. You see them pop up on Facebook, and I immediately. I mean, I don't think that post had been up for more than 2 minutes when I hit them up, and I said, "Yep, I'll take them. I'll take all the CPDs you have." And so I had to go run and get them. I didn't even think about trying to record any of that stuff or doing content. The hobbyist took over me, not the content creator.
oh my God, there's so many videos that's on just out there in the world, never recorded from me. Everything is done. And I'm like, oh man, I could have recorded that. I could
Yeah.
have recorded that.
Yeah, or I think half of my videos is I start working on a project. You walk in the fish room, and then as you're starting the process, you go, oh, maybe I should record this. And there's a lot of my videos that are like that. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, it's already like halfway done. The project was already halfway done, and But here's what I was planning to do, and the most of my videos are set up like I'm not I'm not thinking, oh, this is content. I'm thinking, oh, this is cool. This is a little project that I'm working on, and then I go, oh, wait a minute, maybe people might be interested in watching this. So um, that's when I decide, all right, I'll do a video. But it's not. I hear a lot of people that do this as that are, well, they're more proficient at being a content creator, that they'll sit there and they'll actually plan out a video. There's no planning in my world. My world is just go, 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 go. And if I remember to capture it, I will. If not, then I'll maybe mention it, but that's about it. I still try to make this hobby my hobby. I still, you got to have those moments where they're just for you and because for your enjoyment. But then again, I don't know if that's maybe not a cultural thing, but a generational thing where kind of we're going where, you learn to appreciate just having things for yourself to experience.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I used to take like those uh they call them egg crates or the light diffuser. I used
Mhm.
to put so many different things, like for fish, for my frogs, for just for all kinds of stuff. I was sitting, I got my cutters and I'm zip tying and I'm covering the outside. So many things, and my kids would be like, "Dad, did you record that? That would have been a good video." I mean, probably 60 videos of something like this right here.
Uh-huh. Your
This is
terrarium.
on top of this terrarium. I made the little covering and attached it to the top of it. I did that. That would have been a that would have been a video. Just hey, but I just don't do it. I get so immersed, and I think it would take away from it for me if I was to try to plan it and have all other things going on. If I could just
It
sit down in it.
yeah, that's what happens to me. It just kind of interrupts the flow of what you're doing, and then it becomes it becomes tedious because you're having to set up you got to worry about capturing what you're doing, so you got to stop, set up a stand, put the camera, make sure you're in the shot. That it just kind of makes it where I don't want to do this anymore. And versus when you're just kind of working in your fish room and you go, oh, I need to get this done. The last thing you want to worry about or you're thinking about is, like you said, creating content. And I, you know, it's just, I guess if we could set up like I guess cameras in your fish room where they just automatically record when you're in there, and then you can go, oh yeah, I could use that footage for a video. That'd be cool. But then again, there's probably a lot of stuff that would get captured you don't want out there, anyways.
Yes, that definitely. Yeah, I would need a whole assistant that would just be around me all the time. Like
Yeah,
you see it coming organically. Don't say nothing to me. Don't ask me nothing. Just sit
start
up.
recording.
Set up for it.
Yeah, that and I don't know how many times that's happened to me where I start to go, okay, I'm gonna set it, and I end up not doing it. I put it off because I don't want to have to drag out. No, well, it used to be I used to have to set up stuff in here. Now I've kind of gradually been working the fish room where it's not that difficult anymore if I wanted to record a video. One of the hardest things is like when you're building stuff to have a table or a spot that you can work on that's allows you to put a camera and stuff like that. And I think I've accomplished that. All I need to do, my computer sits on a mobile stand, so I can get that out here. And if I needed to record something right where I'm sitting is where I could actually record a video. And so that's made it a little bit easier. But yeah, it's not innate for me to record stuff. I remember, and you're gonna probably remember this when you started seeing people with cameras taking pictures of all their food and taking picture selfies. We didn't grow up with that. You and I, that was not a thing. So we've had to learn that behavior. But where the younger people, that's like second nature. They're every moment is captured, which I don't know. I guess is a good thing. I don't know.
It depends, but yeah, it depends.
Yeah, but I remember that being when that was happening. I was like, "What? Why are they taking pictures of their food? What's the deal with that?" Why? Why are they trying to share every single moment that's happening? But that's the way
It-
society is going nowadays.
but that has gone so uh I, wrong. I'll just say it has gone so wrong. Yesterday, just yesterday, I watched a couple of videos of people losing their lives on live stream. Like you should so used to having the camera on, and now the world see you, actually lose your life. Then this person gets locked up and lose their life, and all on live stream, and they thought it was a good
Yeah,
idea for whatever reason.
yeah, no, yeah, but
Polaroid.
yeah, he's calling us old. Well, he's calling me old. Hank
I,
was like, well, why you bring me into this conversation? Would you got a mouse in your pocket talking about we?
I, I,
But yeah, yeah, I remember. I remember having to shake a picture. You sat there and you shaked it. But that's the whole. That's where that whole line from Outcast comes. Shake it like a Polaroid.
like a Polaroid picture.
That's
Yeah,
exactly a thing. Yeah, it's just but you know what? I've loved the fact that I grew up in the time period that I did because now I can say we've witnessed the evolution of technology. We went from being probably one of the last generations to be outdoors, from what is it, dawn to dusk, where you would go out and play out in the street, and you had to be within an earshot of your name being screamed out the door, because if you didn't return, within 5 minutes of that, you were in trouble. But as long as whenever they'd step out the doorway and call your name and you responded, you were good. But you could be out
yeah,
all day, all day.
yeah,
That
yeah.
doesn't
My
happen
mom,
anymore.
she had if the dew was still on the grass, I had to wait. Let
Yeah,
the dew dry up out there.
yeah, and they didn't have to kick us out of the house either. I mean, you were ready to go. I remember it was so funny because I was thinking back on it the other day that we would set up schedules. Not like, okay, today we're gonna, no, it was kind of like an unspoken schedule. Because I remember during spring break, um, our thing in our neighborhood was baseball all day. We played baseball out in one of the empty lots, and we knew usually they wouldn't let us out of the house like till like 9 in the morning, because we know we had to get up, do our chores, have breakfast, and then right around 9 o'clock, mom would say, "All right, get out of here. I don't want to see you till dinner." And we would take off. So we would go and play baseball for a while, and then we had I don't know what this game is called, but I've seen it play. You'd have like a fence or a wall, and you would dig out some holes, and based on, like, if there were six of us, right? So you dig out six little individual holes side by side, and you get a tennis ball or a handball, the rubber balls,
Mhm.
and you would roll it, and you would try to roll it so that it randomly fell in one of these holes, and you were at, I think we were like, it had to be no less than 6 feet away from the hole, and when you were rolling it, and if it fell in your little hole, you had to respond, go in there, dig that ball out of there, turn around, and try to peg one of the kids running away from you. And at a certain distance, it'd be a tree or a wall that we would call the safe base. So you're trying to get there before you got pelted with this rubber ball. And if you missed, the punishment was that you had to line up against the wall, and with your butt hanging towards them, and they would take turns, and each one of them would get an opportunity to fling that ball at you as hard as they could. So you got pretty good at aiming at things that were running away from you, because you didn't want to get pelted. And that kept going on, and we would play that for hours. And we used to call it hoyito, which meant hole in Spanish, but I don't know if there's a version of it, if that was just a thing that we came up with, or that was actually like a generational game, or I don't know. But that was the one that, and it didn't matter where we went, and where there was a bunch of kids and a little tennis ball or a handball, that was the game we were playing.
I have never heard of that until today. We may
Yeah.
have a version of it though, but yeah, I had never heard of
And I
it.
remember, and I remember we used to get to the point where we were trying to get so good at aiming that you would try to hit on the inner thigh, because you sit there with your hands up against the wall, and your feet spread apart. So you became a bigger target, right? That was the idea. And then, we'd sit back maybe about 10 feet away from where the kid was, and we would just chuck that thing as hard as you could. Well, if you started getting pretty accurate, you knew that if you hit the inner thigh, that stuff would hurt because it's all the soft tissue in there. I mean, don't get me wrong, it would hurt if you got hit in the back or any, but we knew it would hurt more if you got hit on the inner thigh. So we were sitting there trying to aim to hit kids on the inner thigh or the softer areas where the soft tissue is at. So, but it was, I guess now looking at it, that was kind of bullyish. But everybody got a turn though. Eventually, you would end up on that wall getting pelted with the ball at you. Yeah, but I don't think that I can only imagine trying to teach my grandkids that game. It would be chaotic. They wouldn't get it.
Just the focus is like, and then I do what? And then I do what? Too much. That's too.
It's hard enough getting them to go outside and put down the damn phone. I mean, that's all they ever do is just watching videos. And the only thing that I got to say that I guess is kind of cool is my grandson right now has discovered football. And that's all he watches is all these videos of highlight videos of football. So I guess that's kind of cool because I didn't have to force that sport onto him. He discovered it and he's so excited about it. Now that's another bonding thing that he and I have where we'll talk about, and he'll ask me about certain players. Hey, he calls me Tata, which is grandpa, hey Tata, do you remember this player? And it's like, yeah, that's Michael Vick. And, and he was pretty good. And this, so we'll sit there and we'll talk about it. And I that's the only thing that I think is kind of cool about, social media, that they get exposed to that at a lot earlier age than I remember. It wasn't until I must have been like 10 or 9 or somewhere around in there that I even realized football was a sport. And you start playing tackle the man with the ball out in the yard. That was the other thing that we would do. Oh, what I was getting at to the schedules was based on the time of the year. Like I remember the fall season was marble season for us in our neighborhoods. I remember like from like September to October, everybody ran around with marbles in your pockets because you were playing marbles everywhere, either outside or at school. I used to get in trouble at school because I wouldn't quit playing marbles. I'd be cutting class and we go find a dirt patch out there in the school, and the recess bell would ring and everybody would go in, and they would always have to come and fetch us because we would still be there. Oh, we're almost done. We're almost done. So, and I know we did that for, yeah, we would do that for a few months. And then after that, I still remember this. We started bringing in tops, and I don't know how many. I don't even think kids nowadays know what a top is. And we would be sitting there. We would do a circle, and then we would put quarters in the middle of the circle, and we spin the tops, pick them up, and try to the spinning top, use it to hit the coin and try to hit it outside the circle. So any quarters you hit out of the circle, they went in your pocket. That was a way to hustle and make money when you're a kid, and we would do that for, X amount of months. And then after that, it would be yo-yos. We would bring yo-yos to school and everybody's playing around with yo-yos, but it always seemed, and I don't know who dictated it or what dictated, but it would be like these blocks during the school year that it was always like, oh, it's marble season, or it's it's top season, or it's yo-yo season. And then towards the end of the year, like in April, and then I remember we would bring kites to school. We would fly kites during recess. And then when you got pretty proficient on it, the other thing we would do is we would fight. We would fight kites. So what you would do is you would try to entangle those strings, and once you got them caught up, you start pulling on your string kite, trying to sever the other kid's string. And that was stuff that we used to do as kids that I don't see anybody doing nowadays. I don't know if that was just a regional thing where I grew up, but that was kind of like part of childhood. Those are the games that we would play.
No Matchbox cars.
No, that was for people for money, man. We didn't have any money. I mean, we were making our own kites. We used to take bamboo reeds, and we would sit there and we would break them apart, and because it was really light and really light material, and it was really strong, and you could bend it real easy. And I remember, as a matter of fact, we learned how to make kites in elementary. That's how that all got started. One of the teachers, I forgot what book we were reading about a kite, that after we finished reading, that was like the appeal to be able to do the class assignments, was at the very end of it, he was going to teach us how to do these little paper mache kites, or out of tissue paper, the colorful tissue paper. And it was so easy to do them because you had to build the frame. I remember you started out, you made a bow, like a bow with one of the reeds from the bamboo, and then you would tie it off, and then you'd put glue so that it would become hardened and it wouldn't come untangled, the string. So
Mm.
you did that, and then you would tie a cross member, and you do the same thing. You use kite string. That's what we were using, and you wrap it up tight, and then you put glue on it and let it dry out. And so now you had the skeleton of the kite, and then you would tie the diamond shaped strings on the outsides of that structure, and you'd cut the tissue paper and glue over that string that you tied, and lo and behold, you had a little kite. And then you tie your own little tail to it, and you take it outside. So they were really inexpensive to make. So we used to make our own kites, and then we'd get out there, and we, being kids, figured out you could fight the kites, or maybe that was part of the story, because I don't know where that came. So we sit out there, and so if you lost the kite, all you were losing out is a little bit of time that it took you to put it together. So that was kind of the thing that I guess it must have really left a mark in my childhood, because I'm talking about it and getting excited about it now.
Yeah, you remember it.
Oh, what did I spend about half an hour talking about making kites? But those were it's so unfortunate that I don't think kids today are going to experience any of that stuff. So I'm always curious what's going to be, when they get older like us. What are they going to look back on?
What are they
What's
gonna
the one?
remember?
Yeah, because everything is so instant and so quick. It's here one moment, it's gone. Trends, you have trends. All these, you look at any of the social medias, and it's bombarded with whatever the trend of the moment is, and those trends change like every week. It's something different, and somebody doing something. So I don't know. I don't know if memories of childhood are going to be a thing in the future.
Right? I mean, because there was so much we could hold on to that had no negative attached to it. Whereas most stuff that they do now, there's always some negative that's attached to it. You might let that memory go on about its business.
Yep. Yeah, and I remember also. I don't know if you guys did this, but I'm trying to remember what it was. It was all the stuff we used to do as kids was either a movie that we saw or something. And I'm thinking, we would set up these little mini ramps, where you get a piece of lumber, and you get a rock, or if you were lucky, you get a cinder block, and you lay it up against it, and everybody was trying to jump your bike to see how far, who could go the furthest or the highest, or that's why I don't have these front teeth right here all busted. Was because I was doing a stupid stunt like that, and ended up going over the handlebars and landing up face first, and chipped the entire front of my teeth. That's why they're all broken.
Uh, yeah, we used to jump bikes. I have a cousin. I remember his front tire coming off coming off his bicycle and him sticking in the ground.
Yeah, and I guarantee you he wasn't wearing a helmet either.
No, no
Or
mouthpiece, no helmet, none of
no
that.
elbow pads, none of this protective bubble that we put on kids today. I I don't think we were so resilient. It's not even funny. I don't know how many times, how many bumps and bruises and stuff we had. I mean, having the other thing, my mom used to hate it when she knew when it would come around for marble season, like what we would call it, because she couldn't keep up with the holes in our pants, because we would wear out the knees from being on your knees all day playing marbles. And I remember it got to a point where even when she would she would give us a new clothes, whenever we got them, they would already be reinforced with the patches on the inside of the knees, the ones that they were on, because she knew we are gonna wear it right through those jeans almost within a week. You know, you
Oh
know,
man.
all that stuff. It's just I remember all the. It was interesting. I mean, you didn't have, but then again, I think if we had grown in with the technology that's available today, especially like video games, there was no such thing as video games when I was growing up. Video games came into the picture where I was starting to get into my teenage years, and it was, I mean, you had the Pong, but not everybody had a Pong. It's always you'd go to the one house where the family had it, and you always wanted to go visit that house because they had Pong. And all it was is little circle paddles that you just sit there and you try. Yep.
No, us, we was waiting to go either go to the corner store or to the Pizza Hut. That's what we played for.
Yeah, it was
Mm.
kind of more of a treat then. You didn't have it at your access. And I remember when Atari came out, that was like revolutionary. Atari came out and I was like, whoa. Now that I look at it, I go, how did we think these graphics were pretty cool? All these little pixels, that
Yeah.
and they were so delayed too, because you do a command on your joystick and it would have this like second delay that it would respond, and half the time you were overcorrecting or whatever. So, but anyways, I remember those came out probably in my early teens. I must have been like 12 or 13 when that was becoming more prevalent. And used to, I guess when they first came out, they were like really, really expensive. But by the time I got around to having my first game console, I think at that point, the first iteration of Nintendo was making its way into the market, which was higher resolution, better graphics, but I couldn't afford that. So I remember that time I was like one of my very first paychecks that I ever got, because I started working. Hey Michelle, I started working when I was I had to be like 14. It was my freshman year in high school, because I got into this program. See, that's the other thing. I don't even think those programs exist anymore.
The
It was
summer.
called the Yes. It was called the Yes program. It was the Youth Experience. I forgot what the services or solutions. Anyways, um, you could work during your lunch period when you were in high school and make a little bit of money. You got minimum wage, for an hour of work that you would go in the cafeteria and wash the lunch trays. But it was kind of cool because you only got paid once a month. So you work for 30 days for an hour. When the end of the month rolled up, you you had a little decent paycheck. As a freshman in high school, any money you got in your pocket was kind of like, cool. And I remember that it took me, I think, like 2 or 3 paychecks to be able to save up, like, what was it, like 30 or $30? I think it was like 24.99 that I ended up getting that my very first Atari. And then I was able to pay for it because my mom said, "No, there's no way I'm buying that. You can buy it if you can afford it." No, I think what it was, no, she said she would pay for half of it. That's what it was. She would pay for half of the cost because she wasn't going to pay the entire thing. So I remember I saved up enough money, and I think it was like 25 bucks is what I had to come up with, because I think they were going for like 50 bucks at the time, which in the well, that must have been like in the late 80s. 50 bucks is still, pretty expensive. It wasn't like cheap.
Yeah.
I guess you could
Our past
equate.
dues for me was $50.
Yeah, so coming up with $25 was like a big feat for me. And but that was my first game console, I remember. And you quickly outlive that, because by that time, like I said, I think Nintendo was already hitting the market, and that was becoming the game console to have, because the graphics were a little bit better, the response on the commands was a little bit quicker, and the games were a little bit more evolved too.
Yeah.
So, but you know,
I was
now was that?
I was a Sega man.
Yeah, yeah,
I was
I
Nintendo.
yeah. Oh, that's right. That was a yeah, but that yeah, that's how late into the gaming uh scene I was able to buy into. It wasn't until Ataris were like $50.
Hey, I got to go to the restroom.
Okay, no worries. Do you want to call it or you want to come back?
I can come back.
Okay, I'll wait for you then. It'll give me an opportunity to finally get around to saying hello to everybody that's joining us today. Um, I don't know if this is going to let me go all the way to the back, but I oh yeah, it is. Nice. Wow. There's so many people that have been in and out here. Let me see. And I'm sorry if I haven't acknowledged who's been coming. Yeah, I guess Jeff was the first one in here, and then Hank, and they were waiting for me to show up. Fernando, Fishy on Tactics, thank you for being here. Dennis, Bigfoot, thank you for being here. Sam, here like always. And then there's all that roasting of me for being here late. Raul, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Danny, thank you so much. Vinoski, thank you so much for showing up. Sarah, thank you. Coral, let's see who else. Skipper, Craig, Barbara, Shady Grady, Mal. See who else? Who else? And Keith, thank you so much for joining us. Tucker, thank you for being here. Let's see. Ron, so much. Thanks for joining us this morning. Brian, thank you for being here. Let's see. Hopefully I'm not missing. Sweet Acre Koi Farms, thank you for joining us this morning. Sal, DJ Guppy. Let's see. Sweet Hank. MCA Mike, thanks for joining us this morning. Red Laser, thank you for dropping in. Wow, you guys have been busy in the chat. Oh, Big Izzy, thank you for joining us this morning. Let's see. Geek Boy Charles, thanks for joining us. And then I saw Michelle. Oh, HBBC Chemistry, thank you for joining us today. Oh, I know who that is. He's got all the saltwater tanks down there in LA area. Let's see. Ron. Jeff Pelham, thank you for joining us today. Jeff Keen. Wow. You guys have been busy in the chat. Kelton, thank you for dropping in. Let me see. I want to make sure I don't. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Jeff Pelham, thank you. Pelham. I always get his last name wrong. Too lazy to read it all the way through. Adele was here or is here. Wow. Who else did I see in here that I think that's Jesse Salem Aquatics, thank you for joining us. Mandy, of course, thank you so much for being here. All right. Oh, Ross, thanks for. I hadn't seen that you had been in Benjamin. Thank you for joining. Wow. I'm still scrolling on this thing. Ian, I think I said Red Laser. Thank you for being here. And I should pay more attention to what's going on in the chat. We're just sitting out here.
So much going on at first.
Yeah, I know. And it seems like the glitching went away, which is
It
good.
went away. Yeah, it went away. I didn't want to mention it way back when I first noticed it. It stopped. I said, I'm not gonna mention it. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
leave it alone.
Not gonna jinx it. Oh, Buds Files is here also. Thank you for joining us this morning. And I think I'm finally caught up. I'm sorry if I missed somebody. Either way, I'm really appreciative of the fact that you guys are here today, especially so early on a Sunday morning. Well, at least early for me. Oh, Tommy, there he is. I thought I had seen him, and then I think I had Nene Sarcoma, which is one of the guys from Mexico that I follow, and he follows me, and usually he'll be in the Spanish streams. So, and I know I had seen him, but I didn't see him right now when I was scrolling, so I don't know what happened. I must have just passed him. But Michelle, thank you for joining us. Now, but yeah, it's just, I guess, going back to you, Hank. You there?
Oh, I'm here.
Oh, okay. So how many more aquariums did you end up picking up? Because I know you had what, about 15 stuck in that little closet there?
Yeah, let me see. Let me see, one,
There you
th- 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I had 13 and a pond
Yeah, the tote or whatever it was in the bottom.
at the bottom.
Well,
Hey, people
so
wouldn't be
so
in there. That's what you have to do.
how would you control the humidity in there? Because it's such an enclosed place with all that water volume.
I didn't. It was in the bathroom already. It was a bathroom closet. So I
Oh,
know the bathroom was set up already to disperse the humidity, but it was we had 2 walk-in closets in our bathroom. So I moved in with my ex-wife in her closet. And well, should I say she gave me, you know, she was like, hey, you just put your fish in there. So I'm like, hey, I will. So no, it was in the bathroom and there was never no mold anywhere. There was nothing. It was God, God blessed me to have me a fish room. Oh, and now I have. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. I was given 360 gallons by Renee LaCour. Uh, uh, 320 longs, a 29 tall, 3 5 gallons, a 12 by 12 terrarium. I don't think the number is more, but the tanks are larger,
yeah.
and I'm good for
Are you-
working deals.
oh,
I can work those 60 gallons into probably 20 more tanks.
yeah. If I'm not mistaken, though, you were more into the smaller species. Was that just because of the space, or that's really what interests you?
No, that's really what interested me. That's where the big tank Hank. Well, the big tank Hank came for a few different reasons, but one was the fact that, like when I had the big, the big 55 on the wall, I had guppies in that more than I had anything else. And people were talking about this big dude going to the gym, you working out, and all this, and you got these little bitty fish in these big old tanks, and I'm like, yes, yes, I do.
Yeah.
There go big tank Hank. But folks were like, oh, big tank Hank. He must have like, big catfish and he's got some gars and no, no, I got some of the smallest fish out there.
Yeah. And I guess I'm not assuming too much by saying that one of the inspirations for having large aquariums like that in small species is definitely Rachel O'Leary. I know it was for me, and I know you've had her on as a guest,
Yeah.
but that's when I found out that was a thing, that you could do that. That you would. I was like, I'm all in. I'm all in. That's
'Cause
pretty much where I've stayed.
you can set up such a wonderful home. Like, I mean, you got these little bit of fish thinking they're in the wild because there's so much space and they can do what they want, how they want to do it. Yes, other fish are in here with us, but I have a space over here in this corner that's mine. They respect it, and they're still, your other fish might be, swimming around doing their thing. You just can look back, and it's even better for you when you're observing them. You got all this other stuff going on right here, but you're looking back into that little corner back there. You got a species back there doing their own thing in a 5 gallon, technically 3 to 5 gallon area, of your big giant tank in these plants and all that. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Shrimp, oh man. If you got your shrimp going wild in there, look, you'd lose a whole day sitting in the tank.
Yeah, it's and that was one of the things that I was gonna ask you. How much have aquariums help you decompress from the stress of work and life and all of that? Because I know it's a big factor in my life. And granted, I now relatively live a less stressful life than I did when I was younger, with work pressures and all of that. But to me, this is my zen. I mean, this is where I can come, not necessarily think about what's going on out there, and just being able to sit there and not necessarily do anything, but just sit there and observe. That's like my favorite thing in my fish room, is to sit right where I'm at and just do nothing but chill.
Yeah, since I've had fish my whole life, I have ADHD, and something that I discovered in the last 2 years, that I'm on the autism spectrum. And when people hear that, they automatically think of, special ed classes, can't learn, blah, blah, blah. No, it's called a spectrum because it's a scale. And I'm on the end where I'm very intelligent. Some things I'm borderline, maybe genius and some stuff. That's not a bragging scenario, y'all. I'm being honest. But I have what do I call, a lot of, let's say, auditory and textual issues, like things that I hate to touch, or I can't. Sensory, there you go. My daughter had to tell me what it was. Sensory issues.
Okay.
Certain things that I can't eat them because of how they feel. I can't walk on this. I can't touch that. Bright lights, will cause me to become nauseous. Just I have a lot of these little things that the fish would cause me to come back in from that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would just, how can I put it? Relax me. I mean, click the switch and turn all the other things off that may have been bothering me. If I'm out in the working world, and mind you, I work in corrections, so I would have so much stuff coming in. I was able to successfully not bring any of my work home. Like, I'd come in and I'd go right past my family for the most part. I'm going to the fish room. And I'm looking in the tanks, and I'm pulling algae, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. By the time I come back out of there, I'm a normal human being again. When I started my videos and things of that nature on YouTube, I had ruptured my Achilles working at juvenile, and went into depression. And it was me looking at, me talking about full circle, me looking at these little bitty feeder fish, guppies and endlers, and thinking they were the same thing. And hey, I'm not getting much money because I'm on disability here at the house, and I'm gonna buy this clear tote, and I'm gonna make me a aquarium out of it, and it just steamrolled. But it took me out of my reality. It took me into another reality, which, hand in hand. But it was so therapeutic, and is so therapeutic, that the time that I had to go without having any tanks, oh my God, you talking about crazy. First time I could set up me a tank and just have the filter running. No stock for a long time. Just filter running. Put me some rocks in. I'm ready. Hey, it ended up being a wonderful thing. That my tank over there in the corner, my 29 tall, I know that tank ran for about 3 months with everything in it except fish. So you talking about perfect water when it was time for me to put some fish in it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it seems like you see, my fascination was even before any of my life experiences happened, but um it seems like for veterans, um law enforcement, it just, aquariums seem to be a gradual, it's almost like go hand in hand for the more and more that I've been doing this, and the more that I get to meet people and I find out that what their backgrounds are. It's always interesting to see these certain patterns that is like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Why you have this fascination, because it is a way. I know for me it's a way to get away. It's just, and even being on a live stream, and the part of that, the extension of the hobby, which is the community and stuff like that, just being able to get away from the day-to-day grind, or whatever could be going on at that moment that you don't want to think about. You could go to YouTube, find somebody that's going live, and forget about what's bothering you for at least a few minutes or whatever. And you know so I don't know, it's the one thing that I even if I were for some reason decide I don't want to do the YouTube aspect of it, the hobby's still going to be there. And so I don't see myself not not ever not doing this again, because I know I took a long hiatus from my teenage years till when I picked it up again.
Most definitely, most definitely. I mean, even the camaraderie aspect of it. God rest his soul, Nathan Alexander, Sand Creek Aquatics, talking about looking outside of yourself, and he was going through dialysis and a few other things. And being that my mother passed away from renal failure, I recognized the port for his dialysis, in his chest. I don't even know how I found his live stream. That was during the time I was depressed, and my beard was this big, and I'm watching YouTube in the middle of the night, and I rolled up on his live stream. And sometimes it would just be me and him, because he was going to live stream every day so he can get his 1,000 subscribers, and I would just be sitting in there, and he had called me up, to interview me. I was his first like person on screen with him interview, and I was able to realize that what I was going through was not as bad. You know what I'm saying? No woe is me, because there's always somebody, or there's something that could be, a little more, uh a little worse than yours or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was the hobby. I mean, him and his fish, loving his convict cichlids. Convicts get a bad rap, but Nathan loved his convicts, and it was this platform with this particular hobby, niche or genre, whichever term you want to use on it, that helped me to get outside of myself. And yes, these fish are like your service animal. It's not a puppy that you
Yeah.
take and get yourself to the store or whatever. But I mean, you can consume yourself in them, and they take away all of that struggle and all of that strife. And just lift it up off you, man. Like, and it's crazy how that works. But it's like hitting a switch, click. They need you, and you are focusing on the fact that they need you, and not ever paying attention to how much you need them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's just it's been, to me it is an important part of what I'm doing. And like I said, I just take so much pleasure of just sitting here and observing. And I mean, I could spend hours. My wife goes, I don't get it. How can you go in there and not do anything? And she doesn't get upset about it, but she finds it fascinating, the fact that I could just sit in here hours on end, and she'll come in and she goes, "Are you working?" I says, "No, I'm just kind of sitting here." This has become my favorite place. I'll come in here and I'll have a cigar, because I enjoy cigars. I'll have a cigar. I'll have me a little shot of whiskey or whatever, and just put on some music. That's my favorite thing to do when I'm not on somebody's live stream or whatever. I'm hanging out in my own fish room, just listening to music, and having me a cigar and a little bit of whiskey to go along with the cigar. And that's kind of become like a normal routine for me when I just want some alone time.
Was it able to zen out?
Yep.
Pun, pun, no pun. What's going on, Zen? How you-
Yeah, she was telling me there's a new feature, I guess, that you can go to a link or something, and it'll tell you who's watching your live stream, so that you don't have to be scrolling through the entire chat to try to figure out who's watching it, and you don't leave anybody out. I didn't know about that, so I'm glad that she pointed that out. Now I'm gonna have to go tinker around with it. I don't want to do it now because I'll probably end up pushing the wrong button and ending the live stream. but, but yeah, no. Well, sir, it's almost 2 hours that we've been on here today. What it seemed like it was touch and go at the beginning.
Oh,
I just want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your day, especially because you're on vacation. So, but thank you so much for joining me today. Again, I sincerely apologize for being here late. That's the one that is a pet peeve of mine. I'm of the opinion if you're on time, you're late. If you're 15 minutes early, you're on time.
God.
And that's kind of the way. That's kind of been the way I've grown up, ever from my dad. Although it's funny because my dad was never very punctual, but he always instilled us. So I don't get it. But and then being in the service, that was the whole mantra there is like, if you're on time, you're late. If you're 15 minutes early, you're on time.
Yeah.
And but today I blew that out of the water, But anyways, well, thank you, sir. I appreciate. What's that?
That was a reset.
Yeah, I know. Well, no, that's what it. You know what that is me getting cocky and talking shit, and reality coming back and saying, "Hey, you ain't much better than anybody else. What are you doing?" Slap me right back into place. Get in line, fool.
Sometimes we need it.
That's what that was, but that's okay. But yeah, I just thank you. And have a wonderful the rest of your day, and
thank you
to your daughter, because I think I've heard of there that she's sitting there with you. Any tanks in her future?
Well, I'm pretty sure because she wanted me to. In order for me to get more up here, she's like, "You can put some in my room." So I haven't done it yet, but yes, there's some gonna be in her future.
Nice. That could be something else you guys can bond with together. Go to some of the shows and make it a father-daughter thing.
At this point, she definitely it's one of those things without getting in too deep. We in the previous scenario of life that I had to depart from,
yeah,
she had almost the same experience just from a different place in the hierarchy.
Yeah.
That's why we are here together. Because I mean, she's 20. We are here together because we both had to to extract ourselves from that situation. And she's just like me. So yeah, we we rogue dogs.
Very nice. Well, say thank you to her for my part, and thank you for being here. Like I said, and enjoy the rest of your vacation time, and hopefully we'll see you more on the streams, and maybe in the near future we get to see you being the main focus of the live stream. Well, thank you everybody else, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and hopefully we'll see each other soon again. So thank you so much for being here.
Y'all, and y'all enjoy the day now.